All right, we are live. Sunny Days Media Football Show, Week 10. As Jerry says, tomorrow's preview today. Let me see if I can sit on this stool and still be in the shot. Not really. I look small. Okay. A lot went down. I believe this was the most active trade deadline we've had since 1990.
Oh, you think so? Because I said that in the group chat and I got shit on.
I definitely did not shit on you for that.
Somebody did.
I believe Schefter had tweeted that. Someone tweeted that. And none of us were born in 1990. So, big trade deadline. We're going to go through these one by one. It's a lot, so I think I'll say the trade, and then kind of everyone will give their take on it.
Sounds good. Not to chime in, but that was me, Jerry. It wasn't that it wasn't active; it's that your team was active and mine wasn't.
That's what I figured. Yeah, my team.
Yeah,
no, I wasn't looking at the screen. It was Zach. I thought it was just never mind. Yeah, the Giants didn't do shit.
Not at all.
Yes, and then we'll get into the Sunday slate. So,
Perfect.
all right. I guess we'll start with the biggest one. Or you know what? Yeah. Fuck it. Let's dive right into the biggest one.
Rip it off.
And then I guess we'll kind of talk about some of the losers. But let's get into the biggest one. The blockbuster trade was Sauce Gardner going to the Colts for 26 and a 27 first-round pick. You also got wide receiver Adonai Mitchell. So with the Sauce contract, Colts are going to owe him $625,000 this year, $9.5 million next year, $20.9 million in 27, and I believe there's $25 million in guaranteed money left on the contract. I believe from what it looks like there's an out after 2027. And then you know what? Let's talk about the other Jets trade, and then we'll kind of summarize both here. The Cowboys, one of their two big moves of the day, they traded for defensive tackle Quinnen Williams, and the Jets got in return defensive tackle Mazi Smith, the rookie. So he's going to have at least 3 years left on that deal because I believe he was a first-round pick, right? Mazi Smith was?
Mazi Smith, yeah. He was a first-round pick in 23, I believe, from Michigan.
Okay.
Or 2022.
Yeah, 23.
Oh.
Jets got a 2026 second-round pick and a 2027 first-round pick. Quinnen Williams is owed another about 8.5 this year, and then 21.75 next year. So, Jet fans, Facino, Jerry, what do we think before we get into the day for the Jets? Overall, the trade.
I think both trades made the most sense for the Jets at this current point in time. Now, don't get me wrong. I hate to see both of those players go. Personally, I thought among everybody on that Jets roster that we knew there would be some sort of movement somehow, some way. I thought the two of them were definitely going to be safe. And then, obviously, Garrett Wilson on top of that, who was safe. But these guys are all the guys who are under contract, the guys we paid. You didn't think in a million years that these guys are going to be the guys that we were going to, ship out. However, saw something online somewhere that the trade, the way it worked out with Sauce's contract, and you touched upon it briefly, with the way it was structured, we unloaded a shit ton of cap room that helped us out big time in the long run. And it's again with the compensation, I was sitting here, when we were discussing Breece's trade value, you're like, you'll get a fourth, maybe a third, whatever, like aiming low, and I'm thinking like, all right, like, what are we going to be able to get back, and what's going to be the deal? Like, what's the compensation going to look like? Never in a million years did I think we'd get 2 firsts and a second for Sauce. I know Sauce is, among the elite corners in the NFL. I personally think, not having a good year, and my little brother will say otherwise, he's having a quote unquote down year on the stat sheet because people aren't throwing to him because they're afraid of him, which I guess you could spin it like that if you want to, but he's having other problems that aren't involved in turnovers and takeaways and, cornerback duties. And then on the other side of things, I almost got it right. I said I think Quinnen's safe. I think we see Quincy go. So I got half of the Williams on the trade report correct. But I'm okay with this. I understand he's a game maker, defensive tackle. I think he's been, I don't want to say uninspiring, but the past 2 seasons has been like he got paid and then like ghosted, just like a lot of people do in this league. And that's not to take anything away from his talent, but I think again we kind of made out like a bandit. I think the Cowboys are looking to go all in. I also don't really think this is necessarily the blockbuster trade that Jerry thought it was. Jerry Jones, that is, not me, Jerry. When he teased the trade on, was it Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Football, whatever it was, Sunday Night Football, because they lost, and I lost money on that fucking game, because of course. But yeah, I mean, look, I don't want to say the Jets got better because we didn't right away. However, if you set things up for the future and you think ahead, now we have right, because the Cowboys' first round pick is until 2027, right? 2026, whatever, the next draft.
2027, yeah. It's
the
the better of the 2 picks, either theirs or the Packers. Probably the Cowboys, but
regardless,
if the Packers do shit the bed, it does end up being their pick.
And then on top of that, dude, I have a friend who is a Colts fan. And he is like, yeah, dude, I hope you're happy having the 32nd overall first round pick. And I'm like, that might not be the case here. A lot of people think we're going to start because as the season progresses, the Colts schedule is going to get tougher, to my understanding. And I think people are starting to think, and by people I mean Score Giants fans, Daniel Jones is going to start turning back into Daniel Jones, especially because I believe that there's a lot of injuries on the Indianapolis offensive line. And sure, anybody can look like a superstar behind a brick wall, but what are you going to do? Do you actually have to, be a little bit mobile and produce that way? We all know DJ can run, but I want to see, what he's going to do when he has to face adversity. Ultimately, I don't want to say it doesn't matter because I know Facino's a draft capitalist hoarder. I am the opposite. I think that we tend to get ourselves into these draft situations and then fuck them up. Well, maybe not so much fuck them up because it's very similar to the Zach Wilson trade deadline pack or whatever pick package that we got back then that ultimately turned into or complete. Stop me if I'm making this up, but I believe that pick package turned into Sauce and Garrett Wilson. Like that's what that
and
core turned into, right? Yeah. So,
yeah.
With all that, great picks, awesome picks, panned out well enough, but it's the franchise around them now. But I think that this is with the Glenn Jones, the Glenn system in effect now, and he's going to start rebuilding the franchise the way he wants to see it fit. And now he has a shit ton of capital to build out how he wants to build out. I think we're good with the offensive line. For now, it's serviceable. I think we focus on getting the quarterback, getting the receiver, and then something on defense. But I think quarterback and receiver are probably our number one and number two main focuses here. But all in all, I was shocked by the news, but my immediate reaction.
I don't think quarterback and receiver is what's going to happen next year. You might have a quarterback, but Glenn came from Detroit. They built from the line out. I think you're going to see either offensive, probably of the 3 first-round picks you got on Tuesday, 2 of them will be offensive and defensive linemen.
Defensive line I'm okay with. I don't think we need an offensive lineman.
I would imagine you will because those guys get really expensive, and if you can restart the clock on a guard, center, or tackle and get rid of an expensive guy, you're going to do it. So
you don't have to worry about tackle as much as guard. I mean, you have to worry about what you're going to do with AEV, coming up soon. So I think that could be the way to go. And this draft is weak for quarterbacks, if I'm not mistaken, right? So you might want to punt that to the next year and just kind of
I think that's
continue to afford that draft.
I think Mendoza seems to be the clear 1-1 as of right now. Also, Naismith at LSU seems to be pretty high up on draft boards, but I don't know. We'll see. Regardless, the news shocked me. I was upset to see him go, especially because I love Sauce. But my immediate reactions were, holy shit, that was the best move possible that we could have done. So I'm happy with it.
Facino.
Yeah. I think the Colts made a good decision. Because you're right. Like the picks really don't. The picks don't matter. If you can win, then the picks don't matter. A first round pick, you can hit on it, but a lot of teams don't hit on those picks. So it's a lottery ticket. He's a really, really good corner, and they needed a corner for 5 years now. They're finally good, so that first round pick's not going to be a top 15 pick. And if they suck, they suck, and you're fired. So, who cares if you're the Colts? For the Jets, they had to do it. I can't believe they got the value. I would have traded Sauce for one first round pick. I think I probably would have tried to squeeze someone for like a first and a third.
They traded him at a premium.
Yeah, that's incredible.
They got him. I mean, to put this into perspective,
and A.D. Mitchell.
They got him at like an interest rate people are buying houses at today.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody in their right mind had Sauce Gardner, who, yes, has underperformed since his rookie year. Let's just be honest. Like, he's not bad, but from what we saw to what we're seeing now, I think you could almost say there's a regression.
Yeah.
You could say that we expected him to be at another level that he's not at. So I think for the Jets, like, that was incredible value. I think for Quinnen Williams, that was the right value. Like, first, I mean, I think maybe the second rounder is a little steep, but I guess they had to give that up because they didn't want to give up a first rounder this year. And you got another D tackle to kind of fill that gap. Definitely not as good as Quinnen Williams, but Vecino, I agree. Like, you had to make these moves. And I'll go a step further and say the Jets fucked up. You should have traded Breece Hall. He doesn't want to be here.
So I was just about to say that they tried.
The Chiefs.
They tried to shop him to the Chiefs for a third rounder, and the Chiefs wouldn't budge. They only want to give up a fourth rounder, which is funny because everyone's clowning on them that they traded a third rounder for Kadarius Toney a couple of years ago. Look how that panned out. Breece Hall's a hell of a lot better player than Kadarius Toney. But in a perfect world, it's better that the Chiefs do not have Breece Hall because if they did, they would win the Super Bowl.
The Jets should have traded anything and everything that wasn't nailed down and wasn't.
Once
which is what I thought was going to be the case.
Once you get those other two guys shipped out, you can trade Breece Hall for anything because now you're obviously going to get a quarterback. So why win these games and then have to use the picks you just got to go get a fucking quarterback? Get rid of Breece Hall so that you have no home run hitter. Make sure you lose. You don't have to tank by saying, hey, team, today we're going to tank. You tank by getting rid of everybody and making them so bad with Aaron Glenn, who's not a good coach. You have to lose. Like, there's no way they're going to out-scheme and just have the talent ever. They're going to go into every game with a disadvantage, especially if you get rid of Hall. I don't know why they didn't do it. I think a fourth-round pick's perfect. You get something in return for being bad. Imagine what he would cost you if he wins you 2 games. Now, if you want to move up to 1, it's going to cost you a 2027 first because Breece Hall, because you didn't want to get rid of him while acquiring a fourth. It's backwards logic, and they made a bad decision. They also made a bad decision not trading Quincy Williams. Get a 7th for him. He's gone, and he's not even starting on your team anymore. So that was a bad. They should have continued to work. They stopped working after they got those 2 trades done.
Yeah. I mean, it was a tough day for them to be working. It was Nick Mangold's funeral. It seemed like the whole organization was there. I did read earlier today that the Colts-Jets deal was made like in the morning, and the GM of the Jets had asked Chris Ballard to just kind of keep it under wraps until after the funeral, so that it didn't, take away from Nick, which was the right thing on both sides, and actually really impressive that it didn't get leaked.
No, impressive, and you guys nailed it. That was a great trade deadline for the Jets. You would have loved to see them trade Breece and get something back from him. Either a 3 or a 4 would have been good, but to get as much as they did for Sauce was incredible. The 2 first, it was a second as well, right?
They got a second one for Sauce,
and then A.D. Mitchell, and that's incredible. Yep. I mean, A.D. Mitchell, who has been a huge disappointment for the Colts, is still a promising receiver who could just benefit from a change of scenery, and maybe that could solve your second receiver issue if he can develop well. I wouldn't nail that down as that's going to be my wide receiver too, but he could be someone that pans out to be that. And the Quinnen Williams deal, that's someone you maybe wanted to try to keep, but to get a first and a second is incredible. And I'll say this, while I do like the Colts getting Sauce Gardner because that plays into their strengths of, good, tough defense, improving on what has been a good defense so far so they can continue to feed Jonathan Taylor the ball. The Cowboys did a terrible job. I mean, I don't know what they're thinking getting Quinnen Williams there.
I disagree.
I'll say this. I think that
very strongly.
They need to change something, but this is a team that's not going for anything this year. They're not going to win the East. Maybe they can sneak into the wild card. But then my big thing is they locked up 2 picks next year. They locked up both first-round picks because they cannot trade one of them next year because they have to give the better of the ones to the Jets. So they can't do anything with the first-round pick next year. So they
could use it. They could draft with it.
Well, they can draft with it, but
they still have
good and they want to improve.
They still have multiple first-round picks, first of all. Second of all, I don't think what the Cowboys did was this year. I think it was a long shot for this. Yeah. But if you notice, they traded for Logan Wilson, a middle linebacker, for a 6th-round pick, and Quinnen Williams. These are 2 guys that are under contract for a long time. Yeah. Like, these are 2 positions that don't have to be filled. They didn't have to give up a king's ransom to get either one of them. I mean, okay, first-round pick's a lot, but Quinnen Williams is a guy that's worth a first-round pick. When they had traded away Micah, they got Kenny Clark. Kenny Clark has only got 1 more year left on that deal, right? So if you're the Cowboys, I thought the Cowboys did everything. Like, people shit on them. I thought these were the right moves. These are 2 positions you don't have to draft at high in next year's draft, and Logan Wilson, he's making like $3 million this year. He's making nothing. No. So to get 2 starters at not like, I mean, $21 million for Quinnen Williams is a lot, but you're getting an All-Pro D tackle. I thought, and you know what? Say whatever you want about the Cowboys, they go for it.
No, they do.
They go for it, and
because Jerry's gonna die soon.
But you know what? Like, I would rather live in this world, and it's like, I mean, when we talk about the losers of the draft, spoiler alert, I'm wearing the hat of one of them. Like, you gotta put your chips in the middle at some point. I mean, the draft is how you build an organization. There's no doubt about it. But at a certain point, you need to put your balls on the table and go for it. And when you're just always hoarding these picks, you become the Oakland A's of like the mid 2000s. Mm-hmm. You're really good in the regular season, and then you run into a buzzsaw in the playoffs, and you just can't get over the hump. And I don't, and then, I mean, you've got other losers here too. They're, the Lions, I think, are not the only ones, and I don't think the Lions were like.
I'm wearing a jersey of one of the losers.
Yeah, I think the Giants were losers too with the draft. But let's keep going down the list here.
Well, I was just going to say, I think the big thing with the Cowboys is the structure. I'd rather give the first this year and a second next year than the other way around, because I think then you have the ability to trade one of those first-round picks next year if you want to improve at the deadline, whereas now they cannot trade the other one because the other one is locked up. Both of them are locked up with the Jets deal. So that's my big gripe with the Cowboys.
Another major – well, the Eagles – we'll get into the Eagles here. Linebacker Jalen Phillips from the Dolphins. Then they got cornerbacks Michael Carter, Jair Alexander. They got a pass rusher from the Ravens got a pass rusher from someone. I think it was
the Ravens.
The Titans,
the Browns.
Right?
The Titans.
Yeah, the Bears traded for
the
Browns. Who's got
the Browns?
This year. Credit to the Eagles, another team just going for it. They didn't bring in any game wreckers, but they brought in depth. And I think Jalen Phillips is probably a day one starter for them. So that was good. Jacksonville traded for Jacoby Myers at wide receiver. All they had to give up was a 4th and 6th round pick. Thought that was fine. I thought that was good. I guess just more depth at wide receiver. Facino, did you have any kind of reaction to
that?
Jacoby?
Was my favorite trade of the deadline.
Really?
He makes sense for them because everybody drops the ball in Jacksonville. They make him look bad. Like, I don't know if you guys watched Indiana today. Fernando Mendoza's throwing the ball to the sidelines. These guys are grabbing it with one hand, coming down, barely getting their feet in bounds. The guy, catches a game winner. I've never seen an NFL guy do that stuff. And then you got Trevor Lawrence throwing to these guys they can't even fucking catch. It's crazy. So
I thought Brian Thomas was going to get moved. There was a lot of rumors of that.
Yeah.
he's having a bad year. But Jacoby Myers doesn't drop the ball. So they needed that for like the psyche of the quarterback at this point. Like you can't just have guys dropping every fifth pass.
Especially with Travis Hunter hurt, probably out at least out the minimum of the 4 and probably out a few more with the non-contact knee injury. Even though they said the ACL is intact, that's never a good thing.
Yeah, he's trying to come back in 4 weeks, so praying.
Zach, as we talk about the losers here, I have to go get some more ice for my glass. Why don't you open us up here with the Giants and why they were losers Tuesday?
Before we get into that, I do want to talk about the Seahawks trade for Rashid Shaheed, who I thought was another a very good move for them. I mean, they didn't give up much. If I'm not mistaken, it was just a 4th-round pick, and that just gives you a downfield threat. That's just going to open up the field for Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Not to mention, I think that change of scenery is going to be astronomical for Rashid Shaheed. Rashid Shaheed's a solid wide receiver that kind of got dealt the shit hand in New Orleans, and now that he's going into, I don't want to say a sound system, but a team that's thriving. I believe they're 5-2, if not 5-3. I know they're one of the top teams in the, not a top team in the NFC, but they're doing well for themselves. They're looking to be a playoff team. I think that he's going to go there, and he's going to. I think it's going to be akin to George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb type deal.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that was a great move for a team that looks to be going for it. So, the guys the teams that traded for players made out well this deadline, and the teams that didn't move players or didn't go for it did not make out well. They did a poor job of trying to either gather the talent they needed, like the Lions and the Giants that needed to shed some talent or shed some cap, whatever, and they just didn't do it. Giants, it wasn't even the fact that they didn't make a trade. I didn't hear a single peep that they were trying to move anyone. You heard briefly that Evan Neal was on the block, maybe Deontay Banks, but nothing materialized. And at this point, you would have taken a sixth or seventh for Evan Neal, and who would really want to trade for that? But I'm sure someone would have traded for some depth at guard or tackle, a 6th or 7th. And then Deontay Banks, you probably could have gotten an early day 3 pick, maybe a 4 or 5 for him, and that doesn't look good when you spend so much draft capital on a cornerback like that. But just shedding that contract and getting some sort of value back, because this guy can't even start. Like, we're down to a few injuries at corner, and I don't even want him starting, even with the injuries. So the Giants just did an awful job, and it has me thinking that Marrow stepped in and said, "You're not making any moves because both you, Joe Schoen, and Brian Dable are gone after the season." That's what it leads me to believe. So,
I mean, if you read the post, whatever it was Friday, it seems to lead everyone to believe that Dable's gone and Shane is staying, which is crazy.
It's crazy. If you're firing one of them, you fire both of them. You don't really.
And if anything, it should be the other way around. I think both of them should
100%.
go, but it should be the other way around.
Exactly.
Yeah,
but just a disappointing day for the Giants because they had the ability to move a couple
Well,
players.
I will say I think moving guys on the Giants was tough.
It was.
The only guy I think you could have moved was Dexter Lawrence. Like Kayvon Thibodeau, you couldn't move Kayvon because he was coming with a $15 million price tag next year. Nobody wants to pay that for a guy that's what he gives you. Like he's maybe productive on 3rd down. He doesn't play the run. He is everything that the negative Nancy's were. The negative Nancy's were right about him coming out of college. The guy gives up. He flat out gives up. He was way more involved in his image than he was as in being a player for this team, and that was it. Like I think if there was like a $5 million, like if he was a 2nd-round pick or something, or a 3rd-round pick, and there was a $5 million price over his head next year, I think they could have moved him for a 4th or 5th rounder. I think when you have to dedicate $15 million to a guy who doesn't even touch double-digit sacks, I mean, it's just not worth it. And I wanted a pass rusher at the deadline, and I had kind of thought to myself for a second maybe Kayvon, but like not really worth it. Not really worth it. I think the biggest loser, there are 3 big losers outside of the Giants too. There's 3 big losers from the deadline that I focused in on. The number one undisputed loser. Actually, two of them. The Titans for saying that they were not going to trade with the Pats.
Yeah, that was
because of their
tough.
shit with Vrabel. Get over yourself. It's about making this
Who did they
franchise
want to move?
better than we were yesterday.
Pollard? Who were they thinking about moving?
I
Pollard?
think they wanted.
Pats?
I think the Pats wanted Pollard, and I think they wanted Arden Key or Simmons, whatever it was.
No.
The Pats were interested in some Titans players, and the Titans were not doing business with them strictly because of Mike Vrabel. That's pathetic.
Stupid.
It's about
it's-
making yourself a better franchise.
Especially because he
And that-
wanted to be a Titan and run the organization. They told
Yeah,
him no.
he got fucking
Okay.
forced
So
out.
what? Now you're gonna be a dick.
And now you're mad because the guy's 7-2 in a better place with a quarterback.
They're in a bad position. Cam Ward has not played good football this year. I mean, this might be a Josh Rosen situation. I mean, it's tough to say, but you might want to move off of him sooner rather than later. And I mean, it has not looked good there in Tennessee, and they got some talent they could have moved.
He's got
or
nothing to work
something.
with.
He's got nothing to work with, but it just has not looked good. Hasn't looked good at all.
Um,
Jackson Dart hasn't had much to work with, and he's looking a lot better than him.
He's
so-
making it happen. Yeah.
He's making it happen with little Jordan Humphrey.
the biggest loser from Tuesday's deadline, without a doubt, undisputed, was the Cincinnati Bengals. You had Trey Hendrickson sitting there. You kept asking for a first-round pick. I had just kept saying that day, like, there's no way they're gonna you're not really gonna sit here and I mean, I understand asking for a first-round pick. It's the deadline. Teams get desperate. I get that, but once you start to hit 1:00 on Tuesday, maybe 12, you got to drop that price. You got to start negotiating with teams. Trey Hendrickson has.
Dude, you really want to see him moved. I feel like you've talked about Trey Hendrickson and
Years, 2
every
years
single show. Every single show we've
Yes.
had.
Yeah, because this is a guy that's a premier pass rusher. One of the best. He's one of the best edge rushers in football. Doesn't play the run as well, but for the past 2 years, he's had 17 and a half sacks per year. He's been the sack leader of the NFL. All he's wanted was a new contract. They won't give him a new contract. He holds out. They finally give him the money he wants this year, $30 million. What comes along with that is they cannot franchise tag him at the end of the year. So it doesn't make sense. You lost your quarterback. I get why you held on to him for the past few weeks. You want to see if, okay, let's make this somewhat respectable, and if we can be 500 by the time Joe comes back, maybe we can make the playoffs. I understood that. At this point in time, you've done everything you could do. I mean, Joe Flacco in the past 2 weeks is 11 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. You still can't win. This guy is putting up Joe Burrow numbers, and you still can't win. You traded your starting middle linebacker, who cost you nothing, but you won't. Who was under contract for the next 3 years, but you won't trade your edge rusher, who you're not going to have signed next year, who you can't franchise tag next year. You definitely, at a minimum, could have gotten a second and a fifth for him, or a third and a fourth.
Yeah.
And you just chose to do nothing. And now, if I were him, next week, if he's even playing, because I know he had that hip injury, I'd just say I pulled my hammy and I'm sitting out the rest of the year. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. What are you doing? What are you holding on to me for? This is ridiculous. It's just stubbornness. It's they don't want to pay. They want to pay for guys that sell jerseys. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Burrow. That's it. They don't pay for offensive linemen. They don't pay for defensive linemen. They don't pay for cornerbacks. They don't pay coaches. They're a disaster of an organization. You're talking about a professional organization that still practices outside at the University of Cincinnati. What the fuck is that? What are we doing?
Terrible situation.
You were in a Super Bowl 4 years ago. And now, the past 2 years, you're just trying to get to the playoffs. And, oh, by the way, you're the best quarterback in football, and you can't even keep him upright because you don't want to invest in the guys that block for him.
It's terrible. It's a terrible situation. I mean, not only that, it's not even like they beat the Jets and the Bears going into the deadline and they had a shot to win this division. I mean, you lose those 2 games and you're on the outside looking in. And not only that, Lamar Jackson's back, and the Ravens are looking really good, and they made some moves at the deadlines to make that team better. And I wouldn't be shocked if the Ravens come back and and win out the rest of the year and take that division handedly. And Lamar goes on to win the MVP.
Pittsburgh's got too much of a head start that they'll win it handedly, but they could win it.
Well, you know what I mean. I mean, if they go and win the field, that it would look a lot better than it would because of how big of a lead the Steelers did have at one point. But again, the Bengals don't have a shot in hell to win the division and probably not even to make the playoffs in the wild card. So to not at least move some of their talent, outside of their outside the middle linebacker is just asinine. It was a terrible, terrible decision for them.
Can I say something out of pocket?
Go ahead.
Like, straight up fan fiction. There's been a lot of talk, and by talk I mean just New York Jets fans being absolutely delusional. The Jets might make a play.
Joe Burrow's going to come to the Jets.
The Jets might make a play for Joe Burrow.
4 first-round picks.
And I would like to go on record now and say that I'm against that move, personally.
No, you make that move.
I don't know.
Every day of the week and twice on Sundays. You get the best quarterback in football behind that offensive line and throwing a game.
Playing on MetLife's turf? Yeah. That'll go great.
Don't play the games then.
I'd have him play in the
What do you
parking
mean
lot.
don't play the games?
4 first-round picks.
You can't. If they could get Joe Burrow, you have to get Joe Burrow.
It's a Hall of Fame quarterback. I mean,
It would cost 4 firsts.
It would cost
think.
everything we pulled in this past week.
it's
And
a
I
Hall
think
of
that if you said,
If
if
we
you told
trade
me
that entire
you
trade
could trade,
package,
but
okay.
dude, if they said to you, take the players out, if they just said, take the draft picks out, would you trade Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams for Joe Burrow?
Dude, honestly,
Every motherfucker on this earth would do that trade.
You're kind of talking about like buying a trailer in the Hamptons. Like, yeah, you're in the Hamptons, but
What
you're
do you mean?
Like, yeah,
Joe
because-
Burrow, as long as Joe Burrow doesn't get hurt, you're going to the playoffs.
Not really, because
And on
Joe
top of
Burrow
that,
played
too,
16 games last year, and they didn't go to the playoffs. That's first of all. Second of all, you're kind of in a similar situation that the Bengals are in, where there's not enough talent to get you there. It's just him. And I would say the Jets have a better line, but
I think they have a much better line. They could run the
You think
ball
so?
a lot
They got a
better.
top 15 line in football.
Their
They got a
Jets'
top
problem
15
will
line
be
in
the
football.
next year. It's going to be the defense, and can they just muster up enough of a defense next year to win some games? They might suck again next year. So, is what it is. You got-
if you really think about it, if we would have shipped out those 2 players and like a third, I think that would have been an equitable trade. I think both teams would have won.
I mean,
I
the
think-
Bengals wouldn't have done that for anything because
Probably
I don't
it's
think
lost
the
wins.
Bengals will ever trade Joe Burrow.
Yeah, he also has a full no trade clause, so he would have
Does
to
he?
want to come here.
didn't know those were a thing in the NFL.
they
Yeah,
Yeah,
are.
they
a
give
lot
it to
of guys are.
quarterbacks. Like Brock Purdy also has a full no trade clause.
Matt
That's
Stafford.
crazy.
Not good. But
Matt
if
Crosby.
they want to move on from him, like they're going to move on from him. It'll be what it is.
The other 2 losers from the deadline, and we'll wrap this up because now we're 33 minutes in. The other 2 losers from the deadline, the New England Patriots and the Pats, definitely could have used some running back help. They could have used something to shore up what they had. I think they've got a very light schedule. My boy
slightly
Chase is actually
disagree with
down. What?
I slightly disagree with that because I
With
think
their schedule?
no. With trading for a running back, just for the
Yeah,
simple fact,
I
I think
disagree too.
I think Travion Henderson has a lot of juice, and trading for someone that's going to take the ball out of his hands would be a mistake. I think them continually going back to Ramondre Stevenson has been a disaster and has almost cost them some games and probably cost them a couple games at this point. I think Travion Henderson is the much better option, and giving it to a guy like Tony Pollard, who, he's steady, but he's also old as shit.
If you're New England, you probably could have used some help at edge, and you didn't address that. There was
moves to be made.
There were moves to be made, and they didn't make them. And the Lions too. The Lions have a disaster in the interior of their offensive line, and the excuse we heard was, well, there weren't any. Everything was overpriced. No shit, everything's overpriced. It's the deadline. It's like walking on a used car lot, dude. Like, you're not going to get a good rate. You're not going to get a good price. It's not about that.
And this
It's about-
economy?
Yeah, like it's about filling the need.
You guys could have had Evan Neal if you wanted.
I was actually thinking about that, and I was like, that's actually not the worst thing in the world to put him at guard.
It worked out for Mekhi Becton for a little bit. So I mean,
If they
it wouldn't
could put
be
him
anything.
next to like Taylor Decker, maybe he looks a little better. But at the end of the day, I'm not as mad because it's not like if Trey Hendrickson got moved and it wasn't to the Lions, I would have flipped out. If
You give up a first if that's what it takes to retray.
if that's what it takes, yeah, I would have done it. Absolutely. I mean, personally, like you keep hearing and it's just maybe it's just the media like spin zoning it, but the past 2 trade deadlines, we've heard about Max Crosby, and the Raiders are saying they won't trade him, and Crosby's saying he's not getting traded and he doesn't want to leave, but the media's like, oh, they're getting calls and they're taking him. I think if I'm Detroit, I would have called the Raiders, especially after they made that trade with Jacksonville, and I would have said, hey, we'll give you 2 firsts and 2 seconds for Max Crosby,
Giving up all that.
Max Crosby, and Jackson Powers Johnson,
Okay.
their center, which I'm sure they would have done, but that's like I would have good GM like Brad Holmes has done a phenomenal job drafting, and part of the reason that they've spent $1 billion since the start of 2024 on extensions is because Brad Holmes has drafted so well, and I respect that. But part of your job as a GM is to make some of these trades that are impossible happen, and like you got to push your chips to the middle at some point. I mean, last year everybody got hurt. It is what it is. 2023 they did nothing major, and the score was 24-7 at halftime in the NFC Championship. I mean, if they had a Trey Hendrickson, if they had a Max Crosby, if they had an actual difference maker on the other side of Aiden Hutchinson, who's to say they're not in the Super Bowl? Who's to say that pass to whoever it was, fucking 11 on San Francisco? What the hell's his name?
Ayuk.
Ayuk. Who's to say that doesn't happen?
Jai.
I'm an idiot.
Dolphins running back
It's
legend.
it's frustrating because
Andy.
this team is so good.
Yeah.
The skill positions are set. The defense is significantly better this year, and I just want to see them put their chips in the middle because, like, you can't keep talking about next year because things happen. Guys get hurt. Guys get traded.
Guys get old.
Guys get old. Like, I know what he wants, and he wants sustained success, and the only way you do that is through the draft. I get it, but like, I don't know, man. The Rams didn't have a first-round pick for like 5 years, and they're still very relevant every year.
They're looking like
the playoffs. It's
they could do it again this year.
Yeah, it's very frustrating.
One team we didn't talk about just real quick before we get into the slate, the Chargers making a trade for Trevor Penning, I think was a very good move by Jim Harbaugh and that Chargers team.
It wasn't.
Trevor Penning's not amazing,
Not
but with all the offensive line injuries they had, they needed to make a move, and I don't hate Trevor Penning.
I wasn't really mad about that deal because that's like there's no he's not better than who we've got behind.
No. It wasn't like the Lions should have made that move. I think it was just a necessary move for the Chargers because of all the injuries they have. Rashawn Slater out for the year. Joe Alt now out for the year. Yeah. They needed help on the offensive line. They got it. This is a team that could maybe win the AFC West. We'll definitely sneak into the wild card, so we'll see what happens there. But they needed to make a move at offensive line. They did get a solid player who could, like Stevie Mack said, if he stays healthy, will be a good piece for them. So.
Okay, let's get into the slate here. I'm gonna gloss over some of these games because we're at week 10. There's some people that are just out of it. I think.
Yeah, the Jets are gonna win. It's okay. We don't gotta talk about it.
The Jets might win. It would be the most Jets thing to happen.
There's some other games we're gonna get into before we get into the Jets. If we get into the Jets, if you guys want to.
No. It's okay. We talked about it already.
I think the biggest game in the 1 o'clock window is probably Patriots-Bucks. The Pats are going down to Tampa. Tampa's a very good team. They're hurt, but it looks like Bucky Irving's going to play. It looks like Godwin's.
No, I think he's out.
No, Bucky Irving's not playing. I only know that because I just picked him up in fantasy. Some idiot dropped him.
Oh, he is out.
Stashed him. He's not playing.
Or Rashad White's a solid back.
What do we think of this game? Pats are coming in 7-2. Bucks are coming in 6-2. They're coming off a bye week.
The Pats have earned my respect.
Pats are good.
I hate
Pats
to
are
say it, but they're balling and they're running a good ship up there. That being said, though, this Tampa Bay team, man, they just find a way. Every single week, you think they're out of it. I watch Baker go on how many, 2-minute drills, 1-minute drills, 30-second drills, whatever. Never count them out. I know they're
Best
banged up.
defense.
I know they have issues. Yeah, they have good. This is going to be a good game. Circle this one on your calendar.
Best defense that Drake May and the Patriots are going to face all year, and this could be a tough one for Drake May. It's going to be a test for him if he can actually go out and show why he is an MVP in consideration for the MVP, and if the Pats are truly legit, if they can go out and go into Tampa and beat a tough opponent in the Buccaneers.
I mean, they did go into Buffalo and beat the Bills.
They did go into soft defense.
Can't really gloss over that. That happened.
It did.
It was a last-minute win, but it was a win.
Not to mention it was a divisional win.
Yeah.
That was a big win.
No shade to that win. That was a big win. But this is, I think, a tougher test for Drake May and going in against that defense because he's not going to have the running support that he has had this year. I think they're going to be stymied up front, and it's going to be, can Drake May do it with throwing the ball 30-plus times this week? Can he do that? We'll find out.
I think if you're the Pats, it's if you could keep this game respectable, it's a win-win. If you lose this game, you lost to an NFC team, a very good NFC team. It's not going to
away.
It's what?
Away too.
Away.
In Tampa. Yeah.
It's not going to affect any of the tiebreaker scenarios in the playoff picture. You're still one game up on the Bills. The way for if both trends continue, it's going to come down to that second Bills-Pats game, and that game is going to be in Foxborough. So I think if obviously you want to win every game, but like if you're a Pats fan, I think as long as they keep this game respectable, you lose by a field goal, you lose by 6 or something, which you don't want to see, obviously. But if they keep this game respectable, I think they can still keep the train rolling.
Yep, agreed.
I don't think like if the Pats come out and lose this game, I don't think we're looking at them like, oh, see, they're frauds. Like, no, they're very. I think they're a really good team. I think they're one of the favorites in the AFC. We're also getting another international game tomorrow. Falcons Colts. Colts are coming in at 6.5. I think the Colts should fucking beat this shit out of Falcons.
They should curb stomp them.
Yeah.
I disagree.
I
I think the Falcons should be like 5-3, but their kicker can't kick, and they had like a bad game against the Panthers, and they had a bad game because Cousins had to play, but they can score 30 points.
I mean,
Like,
if
no
Michael
problem.
Penix with that big arm could throw anything over the screen past him, that would probably help him too.
Well,
Yeah.
I wouldn't count the Falcons out. I just wouldn't count them out.
So would you're taking the Falcons tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll take the Falcons tomorrow.
I mean, is anyone concerned with the Colts' loss last week?
No.
I think the Colts are overrated.
I
disagree.
Why do you think the Colts are winning?
I think that the secret to the Colts is to stop the run, and no one was able to do it for the first 8 weeks. But if you sell out like the Steelers did, you're forcing Daniel Jones to beat you. I think they're only going to win half the game.
Exactly. And he can't.
No.
He's fucking Daniel Jones.
He is fucking Daniel Jones. But can you stop Jonathan Taylor if you're the Falcons? The Steelers can. The Steelers got a great.
Steelers don't have that good of a defense. I mean, I know that.
I don't even
Defensive
think it's
front.
about Jonathan Taylor. I think it's about can you beat that offensive line? Because
Yeah.
right now, the Colts have the best line in football.
But
Like,
didn't
that-
somebody get hurt though, or did I just make that up? Aren't there injuries on that line?
You might not be wrong in saying that. I'm not too sure though. Let's see.
DeForest Buckner's
Buckner-
injured for the Colts.
Buckner's
That's
out.
on the
He's
defensive
out.
line. He's out for the rest of the year.
They have a tackle on IR. Jack Wilson definitely wasn't a starter. I don't think they have an offensive
maybe
line.
No one within the season has gotten hurt on the
Yeah,
offensive
I
line.
might
so,
have been thinking of Buckner then.
no.
Um,
I mean, it's kind of a week at 1:00 slate, early slate. I would say. I think the only other big game
No.
I would look at is the Vikings and Ravens.
yeah, I was about to say Vikings Ravens should be a good game.
That should be a good game. It's gonna be a lot of points, and
Obviously,
the
the Ravens beat
Ravens.
the shit out of the Vikings.
I could see that too. Soft front seven from the Vikings.
Jags Houston should be good. And then if you want to watch garbage football,
Be
that also
ugly.
might end up being good. Saints Panthers.
I think the Panthers are gonna kick the
Panthers
shit.
are Panthers are fucking rolling. The only thing
Rico Dowdle.
it's tough to get excited about the Panthers because they are limited, and the NFC is so fucking competitive that it's gonna take. I think it's gonna take 12 wins to get in if you're an NFC team, and I just don't. Like I just don't see a world where the Panthers, like if you look ahead on that schedule, right? They should beat the Saints tomorrow, but they play the Falcons. They should beat the Falcons,
Yeah.
and then like they'll probably lose to the Niners. They'll probably lose to the Rams, and they have a bye week, and then it's Saints, Bucks, Seahawks, Bucks. Like they're not beating the Bucks twice.
They're not beating the
probably
Seahawks.
not beating the Seahawks, right? So like it's
They're looking at 5
really-
losses down the stretch.
I mean, look at what you've got. To kind of zoom out here. Look at this NFC playoff picture you have. You've got the Eagles. Oh no, let me go to the wild card. The Eagles at 1, Bucks at 2, Seahawks 3, Packers at 4, and then your 3 wild card teams in order: Rams, Niners, Lions. I mean, the Panthers are 2 spots out of a playoff spot, but like,
all
do
those
you-
teams are gonna have double
do
digit
you
wins.
think they're overtaking the Rams, the Lions for a playoff spot? Probably not. The Packers or the Seahawks or the Bucks or the Eagles. Like maybe if the Niners fall apart, but I think they're just too well coached. Like I don't think the Niners are a huge threat in the playoffs, but I think they're good enough to get there. They're good enough to
Make
secure a
the
spot
dance, yeah.
and get there.
No.
So like it's just it sucks because the Panthers are like if the Panthers were an AFC team, the Panthers would be a fucking playoff team right now.
Yeah,
They
100%.
really would be. They
No
would be.
question. No question.
It sucks. It's like honestly, it's like in baseball the way we look at the NL and the AL. Like
Yeah.
it sucks. Like how it's very lopsided here, and I know the records are not indicative of that, but just like the talent level and the
The
way
Broncos are 7-2, and they've looked like shit majority of the games they've played. They just barely beat the Raiders. So I mean, that's a team that's leading the AFC West. There's not a lot of great football being played in the AFC. So
yeah. But on the flip side of the AFC is like right now the Chiefs are the outside looking in on the playoffs.
yeah.
That's not going to come. Come January,
They'll be
they
in
might
the-
be a wild card team, but they're going to be in the playoffs.
They'll be a wild card team. I think it'd be tough to win that West.
Well, hopefully they fucking do because we need teams to lose. Because it's an 8-team race and the Jaguars are the 8th team. So it's going to be really tough for the Jags to get in.
That's true.
Another 1 p.m. game that I will definitely have on one of the TVs here. Giants Bears. Bears are good. Well, Bears are playing better. Bears are 5-3. I need the Giants to pull off some sort of an upset, and
I would love that. Yeah.
I would love it. I would love
I don't think
it
it's
too.
gonna happen. I would love to see it, but I don't think it's
Jackson Dart's gonna bowl out. The Bears are gonna put up a ton of points in the Giants defense, and it's about all you got. Who's gonna make plays for the Giants aside from Jackson Dart? No one knows. No one knows yet. No one on the Giants knows. No one knows.
I think that this report of like Dable pretty much getting fired on that plane ride home and then not fired by the time it landed, I think it's not good for
It's
the Giants locker room. I think everyone's given up on Dable. I think he's lost.
He needs
the
to be
respect
gone
in
at
the
this
room.
point. At this
Yeah.
point, he needs to be gone. Bowen needs to be gone, and Kafka should be the coach. Give him a shot. Give him a shot. He's gotten calls from, I believe, the Seahawks. I think there was another team that gave him a call in the offseason, or maybe 2 offseasons ago, to be their head coach.
No,
So
he's
there's
got
team-
interviews.
There's
He's got
teams that are interested in him, and the Giants should be one of them. Move on from Dable and see if this is someone that could coach this team up. You don't really want to win, but you want to see if you can get the players behind him, and if he could, get more out of this offense than Dable has. And it's a disaster. If he could kind of pull off an Antonio Pierce situation where he played well enough, or he coached well enough with the Raiders at the end of the season that he actually got a a job the next year. You know, if Kafka could do something like that, that just makes things a little bit easier for the Giants in the offseason if the GM decides to go that route, the new GM. But it's such a poorly run organization. John Mara is not going to do that. He's going to clean house at the end of the season, and we're going to be stuck in another fucking merry-go-round. So,
moving on to the 425s.
fun 4:00 slate.
Yeah, you've got Rams-Niners, which I think is going to be a sneaky good game. I think that's going to be the longest running game. I think that's going to go to like – I think that's going to go until like almost 7 o'clock.
No.
Which
I think
game?
this-
Huh?
Which game did you say?
Rams at 49ers.
No.
Cardinals play the Seahawks.
That'll be a fun game.
Congratulations to Brissett.
No.
Took the starting. I mean, I guess Murray's hurt, but like,
Murray sucks.
I don't think Gannon's wrong for doing this. Like, fucking Kyler Murray sucks.
Marvin Harrison had his best game with Jacoby Brissett at quarterback in his whole career, as opposed to Kyler Murray. And Kyler Murray was the number 1 overall pick. It's time to move on from him and use Brissett as a segue into the next quarterback of this team. That's about it there.
Unfortunately, that contract is outrageous, and
It's
they can't get out of it till like
Dude, I
2027.
maybe the Jets
remember
can
watching that game. No. I don't know. Justin Fields 2.0, but I remember watching that game and Jacoby Brissett. I don't want to say balled out, but I was like, holy shit.
He looked good.
Like, yeah, he looked real good.
Well, guys like playing with him. Like he's not crazy talented, but like everywhere Jacoby Brissett's gone, everyone loves him.
Not to mention, he unlocked the easiest cheat code that, for whatever reason, Kyler Murray refuses to acknowledge. To get your star wide receiver, who you drafted in the first round last year, to unlock his full potential, all you have to do is give him the ball. And guess what? He's going to catch it. He's going to come down, and he's going to have over 100 yards and a handful of touchdowns.
Marvin Harrison was a guy that people were already starting to talk about, like, this guy's a bust.
Yeah.
This guy was a bust. And
And
now
all you
he's
have to do
looking
is
like
just-
the guy that
he's
we
going to
saw.
throw him the ball. So
Yeah.
who would have thought that that's all it took?
And the throws he was making, I mean, there was a couple plays where he would just step up in the pocket. You got a defensive tackle, a defensive end bearing down on him, and he just stood there, threw the ball, and took the hit, whereas Murray's going to bail out and throw it for something short or try to run the ball. And that's something that you need from your quarterback. They're going to get some punishment. They're going to get hit, and Murray wasn't doing that. And Brissett in his first game did that, and look what happened. They won the game. Marvin Harrison had a monster game.
Obviously, what I'm looking at, 425. Lions going to Washington.
You should win.
We should win. Knock on wood. Jaden Daniels is out. There's a lot of guys out in this Commanders team. Marshawn Lattimore just tore his ACL.
Terry McLaurin's out.
Trevor Lawrence out. Like, you're coming off an ugly loss. I mean, it was a 3-point loss, but it was an ugly loss to the Vikings.
Is Terry McLaurin ever going to play football again?
God
What's
knows.
wrong with him?
Yeah, I traded for him in fantasy, and it's
Oh,
not
no.
looking too good for me.
Yeah.
Lions need to win, get back on track.
That they do.
They got a gift last week with the Panthers beating the Packers. I don't think anybody had that on their bingo card.
I took that. I took Panthers money line,
Good for you.
except I parlayed it with Giants money line.
I mean, if you're the Packers, and like not to deflect from Detroit, Detroit's got problems, especially at the interior of the offensive line. There's going to be some changes made there Sunday. I'll get into that in 1 second. But like, if you're the Packers, there was a ton of hype surrounding you. And you know, you made that trade for Micah Parsons, you mortgaged your future, and like, you are a very good team, but you can't like that loss to the Browns. The Browns are not as bad as their record. Like, that defense is so good that it elevates that entire team, right?
Yeah.
But like,
It's
you
been that
lost
for
that
years.
game to the Browns. I believe that was in Cleveland. But then
Yeah, it was.
you lost to the Panthers in Lambeau. Like,
Tied the
at
Cowboys.
what point? I mean, like we there's always this conversation about Jordan Love, and he's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, and start putting respect on his name. Like, at what point are we going to start holding him accountable for what he does? Like there's like literally once every 2 or 3 weeks, he's got multiple bonehead interceptions
Mhm.
that quarterbacks that are in their, fourth, fifth year that are on their second contract should not be making. And, like, I'll be honest with you, a few times a year, Jared Goff has those games. Like I'll be the first to tell you, you can tell from the first quarter if Jared's got it or he doesn't. But the way that the national media talks about Jordan Love, you'd think he's got multiple rings to his name. You'd think he's Pat Mahomes. Like, Pat Mahomes is not playing at the level that he was playing at, 3 years ago. But he's still got 3 rings. Now he's looking better. But, like, Pat Mahomes has been, for the most part, inconsistent over the past
Last couple of years, yeah.
2 to 3 years, right? But, like, he's got the rings to his name. He's got the playoff success to his name. So you're going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Lamar Jackson has multiple MVPs to his name. Josh Allen has multiple wins and MVP to his name. Jordan Love has done nothing. And we talk about this guy like he's a Greek god. And what am I that biased as a Lions fan? Like, tell me where
you're
I'm
not.
wrong.
You're not, and I'll say this. It's going to look a lot uglier for Jordan Love coming down the stretch. I mean, he lost his best weapon, his best passing threat in Tucker Kraft for the rest of the year. And that was the guy that kind of unlocked. Yeah, that unlocked. Yeah, that unlocked that whole offense. And I mean, yeah, you've got guys like Christian Watson and Romeo Dobbs. They're fine receivers, and Jaden Reed too, if he can ever step foot on a football field again. But that is not Tucker Kraft. That's not your tight end that can go out there and put up 100+ yards and several touchdowns a game. That's a big loss for that offense. Now it's going to be on the hands of Jordan Love making plays to the receivers who have not been able to make big plays this year, and Josh Jacobs carrying the ball 20+ times a game. And as someone that's getting into their late 20s, it's tough to continue to feed someone the ball like that. So the Packers are, after that loss, things are not that was a bad loss for them. That was a really bad loss for them. Not only losing the game, but then losing Tucker Kraft.
Quarterback guru, weigh in on this.
Jordan, I mean, you know what the problem is with a lot of these quarterbacks? Like, if you want to look for them to have bad throws, they'll all have pretty bad games. Specifically Jordan Love, he makes some really good throws all game, and then he has like a few bad throws. And if you look around the league, that's just what everybody does. And I think the Packers are good enough for them to go on a run. All you have to do is have 4 good games in a row. Joe Flacco did it. So I think he's capable of doing that. But he does make some bad throws, and he's lost them a game or two.
See, but okay, sure, Lamar, Josh Allen.
Lamar doesn't make those throws. Lamar's perfect.
He's perfect. Like, Lamar has bad throws. Josh Allen has bad throws. But, like, these guys, like when the game is on the line, they're locked in. Like, they're just – I feel like that's the difference between a Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson and a guy like Jordan Love. Like, that's not the only difference. But, like, game on the line, this guy just, like – he's got some games where he looks real good, but the talent level doesn't match the production and decision making from Jordan Love. I mean, that's all I'm getting at. Like, and they've got good receivers. They don't have a Justin Jefferson, but like, how many teams do? Right? Like what I think the Packers have over, I think, every other team in the NFL is they have a collection of like number 2 receivers, right? Where like pretty much like
Matt Golden,
Dobbs, Watson, all those guys could be 2s pretty much anywhere else. Like, those guys are all consistent. They're all
they have a health issue with them though. That's a health issue problem.
But like, and it's a decent line. It's a decent defense, right? Because like, it's not like the Panthers like ran up the score. What was the
13-10?
Yeah,
that was a shit game.
Was that what it was? It was 13-10.
Maybe 13-6 or something.
16-13.
Yeah.
You're thinking of their loss to the Browns, which was
10-6.
I thought that was 13-10. When they beat the Packers, 13-10.
Yeah.
So like, it's just, I don't know.
I got some crazy to say about Jordan Love. What he reminds me of is Eli Manning without the ability to turn it on in the fourth quarter. Eli Manning could have the worst game of his career, but he has some of the best fourth quarter stats in football as a quarterback, and he's turned it on in 2 postseasons when they won the Super Bowl. And Jordan Love has not shown the ability to do that. Granted, he's still very young in his career, but you saw it from Eli, and not to speak his praise like he's the best quarterback ever, but you saw him turn it on in the fourth quarter and then in the playoffs to win a couple Super Bowls. So, and Jordan Love unlocked that.
To close out, we had started with this, so to close out this Lions-Commanders game, it does seem like the Lions are going to be making a change at center. Looks like Graham Glasgow is either out or is playing left guard tomorrow. No one really knows. I guess we'll know at first snap. But it does seem like Graham Glasgow is not going to be playing center anymore. I mean, the Vikings did what I think was the smartest thing. They attacked the center position. They attacked the interior of the offensive line. I mean, it didn't help that it was like everybody got hurt last week on this O-line. Guys were constantly running in and out. Sewell had come out for a couple of plays. Decker came out. Mahogany was carted off. But the constant here is Graham Glasgow. Frank Ragnow, an all-pro center, retires in the month of July. And thank God the Lions drafted Tate Ratledge. But Tate is a right guard. He's not really a guy that lines up from what it looks like. He's not going to be a guy that's going to line up at center, not this year. And he's very comfortable at that right guard position. I don't think they want to move him from there, given that he is a rookie. So it looks like they're going to have some form of a rookie starting at center, or I don't really know what they're going to do. But people are calling this a get-right game. I don't even know, because if the Commanders could keep rushing the middle of the offensive line, I love Jared Goff. I mean, if you give Jared time, he's an elite quarterback. He will cut you up. But that's most guys. You give most quarterbacks 5-6 seconds in the pocket, they'll cut you up. Jared can't move. He's not Lamar. He's not Pat Mahomes. He's not Josh Allen. Can't run around. So I think, and everybody kind of wants to come down on coaching, and specifically the offensive coordinator, Johnny Morton. I think you can only coach up so much. If your line can't block, if in this league, if you can't give a quarterback time and you can't run the ball, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing. I don't care who's at your skill positions. There's nothing you could do. So I'm not even concerned with the spread. The Lions need to get healthy. It looks like DJ Reed's not going to be back anytime soon. They're now talking about the beginning of December, which sucks. But Terrion Arnold came back. He got his first pick last week. Just win this game. Just win this game and get ready for the Eagles game. I mean, that's
Eagles next week?
It. Eagles are next week. I will be there.
And then when's their bye?
They already have their bye.
Oh, they did have their bye?
I am going. So, yeah, that's the thing.
Is it Philly or in Detroit?
That is in Philly. We do have to talk about this all there. We're going to need a different plan for next week's show, because I'm going Saturday. So we either have to record Thursday or Friday, depending on you guys' availability. But
I always wanted to go to Philly.
Oh, it's a good time.
Philly's a great city.
You
Surprisingly, a great city.
Yo, if you could squeeze out for fucking 2 days, it's a good time. It's an expensive game to go to.
Yeah.
Crazy expensive.
$250 a ticket?
$250, fucking $300 to sit in the nosebleeds right now. Yeah, it's
Jesus,
crazy.
fuck.
Well, I'm hoping
You gotta pick a different team. The Jaguars, you go in for fucking $50.
It's cheaper to buy a plane ticket.
Yeah.
And then we've got Steelers Chargers Sunday night, and the big one. This is a Monday night game. I think I'm actually going to tune into Eagles and Packers.
Yeah, it should be a good game. Hopefully,
you're going to be an Eagles fan this week.
Yeah, I am 100%. Packers need to lose. Lions need to win. Packers need to lose. If that happens, Lions take the number 1 spot in the division here, and then they would be.
The Packers, did they have their bye yet? Yeah, they did, right?
Packers had their bye.
Yeah.
Okay. No. Did they?
No.
Yeah, Packers had their bye.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they had a week 5 bye.
Yes. Okay. Well,
so
interesting slate this weekend. We'll see what happens. I mean, There's some not so good games, not so competitive teams playing, but then there's some big games that some big teams that need wins. So
We got anything else here, boys?
No, I'm very excited for that Sunday night game. By the way, I think that Steeler game is going to be great.
I agree. I think it's gonna be a really good
Dude,
game.
I love Sunday Night Football. I think Sunday Night Football is the best window of football of the week.
The worst
a
part
lot
about
of
Sunday Night
clocks.
Football, the worst
Just
part.
watching America's Countdown.
No, the worst part
Starts at
is
8:30.
that it starts at 8:20. Like,
Just
why
start
do
at
we
8?
cater to the West Coast? You could start this game at 7:20, and
Yeah.
and pretty much not affect the 4 o'clock games.
Yeah.
You can even push it back to 7:45 and start at 40 minutes earlier, and
Or even 8 o'clock's money.
just
You
let
know?
the East Coast people stay awake for the whole game, not have to stay up past 11 o'clock just to watch it.
If you're in the Mountain Time Zone, you're in elite time zone. I think if
You
you're
get
talking-
more than
No, the
football.
Chicago time zone. That's always meant. I like that
that's
1
good,
hour. Because
but
then the
it would-
game started at 12. The Mountain West, the Sundays start at 11.
It's great.
Yeah,
Morning
but Sunday
football.
Night Football
You like that?
starts at 6:20.
What about your London game? 6:30 in Cali.
Yeah, that's fucked.
Yeah, but
And I
but
always got a game there.
how many good London games have we had this year? I feel like it's always the shit.
Yeah, I feel like they take the worst game of the week and,
yeah.
and they send them to London.
I feel like the Jets game was a good one, actually. That game was a nail biter.
But
Yeah,
I
against the
think
Vikings.
those games do well enough in ratings because you have a lot of early risers that are like, oh, an NFL game?
They
That's all that's on.
Morning?
That's all that's on. You don't have
Yeah.
any other games to compete with.
point at any time at any day, if there's an NFL game on, the ratings are going to be great.
Yeah, NFL kills in ratings, so
That's it. And it's completely overtaken every sport. Like, this is like the one sport where, like, shit, I revolve an entire day around it. Like,
yeah.
I know the Rangers stink, so that's probably why I'm kind of
Fucking
really
Rangers.
Yeah.
Fuck right
I'm not
now.
really
Losing
paying attention to
3-0.
hockey, but like, I'm always the Jets are the worst team in the fucking NFL, and it doesn't matter. I'm glued to my couch, ready to go.
Baseball's a regional thing. You're really only gonna watch your region. Maybe you'll watch a Sunday night game or whatever. And then basketball. Basketball's big, but who knows what's gonna happen after all this gambling shit.
College basketball. All right. I really have to pee. So are we good here?
We're good.
Good.
here.
We're good.
All right. Thank you all for tuning in, and we will see you all in a handful of days. Let's
Yep.
go Lions.
Let's go Lions, and I hope the
Jags.
Giants lose.